Bizarre situation, but that's a perfect week of preparation, really, isn't it? 2-1-0 wins away from home.
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. Sometimes these type of games are low key and it's a bit slow. But I even said in the first half, I thought it was a good game, real intensity to it, which you don't normally get. So we asked the lads that played to do exactly the same as what the lads did on Saturday in terms of intensity and mentality and those sorts of things that we've been quite good at previously. And I thought they delivered it. And it was a good, tough place to come at any point here. You know what you're going to get with Flinney. They had some younger players. We had some younger players. I thought I could repeat myself. It was a good game of football.
Does playing the 2 cup games before the start of the Football League proper, is that something that you might think that could be used in the future in the Football League in a normal world? Is it a better form of preparation for you?
No. We've used it as pre-season, but you're having to use games that sometimes are valuable monetary as pre-season games. So, luckily we've come through both of the games, but I'm not sure how much money was actually made. But it's ideally you have a longer season, and you just, if it's not broken, don't mend it. And I think the season works quite well the way it always has done. So I can't see cup competitions coming in pre-season again.
Okay, what's been the most pleasing thing about the 2 games? Has it been the 2-1 wins, or has it been the fact that you've given game time to 21 different players during that?
I think there's lots and lots of positives in terms of I'm not really bothered about results pre-season, but performances look after results. So I've been more interested in the 2 performances than the results. And in pre-season, I'm a firm believer that if you deliver that all the time, then results look after themselves. So yes, it's nice to win 2-0, but it's more the physicality, the mentality, the determination of the group, which has been good, and sort of stitching performances together. Pre-season's been 6 weeks, and there's a lot of work goes on, and it's broken up into little bits. So we've managed to put all of those sort of bits together in the 90 minutes, which is probably the most pleasing thing.
You've gave debuts today to Matt Blair and Elliot Bonds. Both got 45 minutes, one got about 60 minutes. Was that pre-planned in terms of their workload?
Yeah, they were all, that was always happening. They were always going to, we were always going to go to a back 4 in the second half. Although I think we played the full repertoire today at one point. I think. I thought Blair, he showed what he is. It's the one thing we haven't done a lot of work on is playing against a back 4, which is the work that we'll be doing now for Morecambe. When the wing back releases off the winger and goes to get the fullback, and then when he does that, what the centre forwards do, and other people react off that. So because we played against a back 3 a lot, and most teams that we seem to be playing against at the minute are a back 3. So that's just little tweaks and starting positions. So it's good that Blair, he got a little idea of that. We had a little chat about it at half time, even though we knew we were changing our shape, just like I said, it's pre-season, so it's a learning tool. So we spent 5 minutes talking about something that we were going to change anyway at half time, just because to get the information in. Elliot's a good player as well. Elliot gives you good physicality, he can handle the ball. So I think he'll be a big player for us this season.
You mentioned the pre-planned change in formation. Is that something you've been keen to do to make the team a bit more familiar with different ways of playing?
It's getting the time to get the work into them. You've got to get them fit, then you've got to get the way that you play sorted, which we obviously do have a way of playing, and we don't generally come away from it. But the last 10 minutes on Saturday, we flipped to a 4-3-3. When teams are chasing a game, they'll stick 3 up against your centre halves and just miss out the centre midfield. So we just sort of basically a lot of the time we just put Toes in one and have him as a front screen and play a narrow back 4. So things that 3-4-3 is something we've looked at, and we have done a little bit of work, and we'll look to do a little bit more work with it as well.
Grant Horn and Tom Chamberlain, 2 young professionals, came in, both played 90 minutes and both got stronger as the game went on.
Well, I don't know about that when they were going down with cramp in the last 10 minutes, but that's good for them. They're not used to the intensity. Dan Barry is another one who's been out on loan, and he would have played at that sort of intensity. And it's not only the physicality, it's the mentality of having to concentrate and make good decisions all the time. But I thought the 3 of them were very good. Grant's come in and looked really comfortable. Suits him. He's got that big diagonal in the locker, and he defended his 1v1s well. Jamo's a good footballer. Just so every now and again he takes a liberty and he gets the ball pinched off him every and again, which is something that he needs to work on. And Dan, you can tell he's a better player now than what he was 12 months ago. I think that's probably down to the work that we've done with him and the work that he's had with him at Bath as well.
You mentioned on Saturday after the game that Sean Long was due to have a scan. Is there any news on what that's revealed?
I don't know the exact prognosis, but it doesn't look good. He could be out for several months. So I'll have to speak to Gab properly. But yeah, I think it's more long term. He might need surgery, and then obviously because of the times that we're in, trying to get somebody in for surgery is another delay as well. So it wasn't great news.
Does that change what you're maybe looking at in terms of any form of recruitment? Because he's your only really out and out right back. I know Matty Blair can play there, but do you have to now look at maybe thinking again about other options?
It's ever evolving. Matty Blair's a right wing back. He's been signed as a right wing back. He can play in the front three as well, but he's been signed as a right wing back. Obviously we've got Connor as well. So we'll wait and see. Finances dictate, availability dictates, people moving out, people moving in. So it's not a dodging the question. It's, are we looking for one? We're having a look at people, but then you might need to prioritise one position over another at some point.
But all in all, apart from that, has preparation been what you wanted it to be ahead of Morecambe on Saturday?
Apart from Longley, yeah, you want them. I say at the start of pre-season, and I mean it's results are irrelevant. We didn't win a game last pre-season, but at the start of the season, we looked pretty fresh, pretty organised, and not too fatigued. So fit, fresh, organised. That's what you want. And people knowing their jobs. And I think we've got that into them. Means nothing. We could roll up against Morecambe on Saturday and get beat 3-0. But I'd like to think that people and the supporters would like to understand that we will be preparing for that the same as what we have done for all last season and the 2 games this week.
Thank you, Michael.
Michael, apart from Sean Long and Scott Flinders, do you think everyone else is in contention to start the game on Saturday? Has everyone else got enough minutes?
The only one, minutes-wise, everyone's good. The only one you probably will have to wait and see. Lewis Freestone took a nasty gash on the inside of the foot. He wasn't planned to come, although he's played quite a lot of minutes. We'd probably like to get him off, but we'll have to see how that is. Sometimes that's one of them. When you take your boot off, it often swells up. So we'll see how that reacts.
Yeah, shame about Sean Long, but it was good to see Scott Flinders doing some pretty intensive training this week. How's he coming along, and you expecting him back sort of midway through the season?
As far as I'm aware, it's still January, so it is mid-season. So it's good to see Scott in, around and on the grass, and I think he did a session this morning and he felt like he had a different pair of legs on because he has worked hard. So I think his is as much as trying to get football fit now as much as the actual bone healing. And he'll have to go through all his protocols. And then there's the mental side of it as well, of getting him comfortable and doing his goalie work and coming out and smothering the people, the actual sort of football side of it as well. So it's been a long, hard road for him.
Yeah, Josh Griffin, she said on Saturday, he's going to make the odd mistake because it's his first loan. But how pleased have you been with the way he started? Because he excellent on Saturday and another clean sheet tonight.
Yeah, I think he made one really big save today in the second half, and he'll only be better. He's not played many games. He's not played many games in his career really, because he's from the age of 16, 17. He's been training with West Brom's first team, so he's done loads of football work, but not a lot of actual football. That's why he played again today. We're just trying to get him as much exposure as what we can, and whilst that's happening, players are building relationships with him at the same time.
And you talked about Tom Chamberlain and Grant Horton, Callum Ebanks. What do you think they need to do this season? Will you be trying to get them all out on loan still, or do you think they'll be a bit closer to it and involved with the first team squad?
We'll probably look to get them out on loan to start with. They will be fringe players. So what we don't want travelling around the country, not getting just sitting on the bench or sitting in the stands every week. and then even when we're needed, we'll bring them back. But they've shown today that they can handle it. Played against a League Two team, which is obviously our level, and showed that they're all capable.
And Reuben Reid, he tends to score more often than not when he starts. Do you think he could play most games this season, or are you still going to have to manage him a bit minutes-wise, because he has got an impressive strike rate, hasn't he?
Reuben's a goal threat. So we'll have to make those decisions whether we think he can go again or whether we don't. Form, injuries will dictate sometimes, and it won't always be one of the bigger ones. Sometimes they'll play together, sometimes they won't play at all. So that's a staff decision. The key for Reuben is he's fit. He didn't do a pre-season last year, so we did have to manage his minutes. He was injured for a long period, so you're trying to get him fit on the job, and then you're trying to do the same with Reg at the same time. So slightly different now. He's had a full pre-season, so I'd like to think he'd go Saturday, Tuesday with Needville.